On the edge of Europe lies a land of austere beauty. Scotland.
Most gyms are fucking shit, bro.
Imagine now you're the most expensive by far.
I think so, yeah.
I hope so, and you should know that.
You weren't running there, were you? Fucking thank God you were running there.
This is your fucking gym. Now you fucking coach it.
You're so deep in the weeds, or just giving them the same recycled shit.
Who's saying that, and why are we not fixing it?
You don't get to stop for a breath for the next 18 months. 18 months, your life changes.
Gym number 1, baby. Inspire functional fitness. Camera on deck, come on. Oh, the door opened and everything. How you doing, my man?
How you doing, bro?
Damn it, mate.
Good.
Good? Oh, cheers, bro.
How you, bro? You good? And you, man? You 6 to 1?
No, 8 to 1.
8 to 1.
8 to 1, yeah, so 2:30 essentially.
Was that the last time? Aye. Something looks different, but I think the boxes were maybe lined up here the last time I was here.
Probably, aye.
Definitely.
Get the radio, get a wee bit,
Aye.
wee bit more space.
Definitely looks a wee bit different.
Nice.
Cool.
Aye, so.
Do you have your KPI submission there? Like, see, when you submit it, and then
So
send you an email back?
I never actually get this. Oh, I put an email.
Aye, send you an email back, I'm sure.
How does that look on WhatsApp compared to what's written there? Very similar?
Yeah, it's similar to it, yeah.
Can you bring your MacBook, even just set it here? This is your head, goes into the KPI submission, but then we've got the product that we're actually delivering to the people. So if we can tie your rationale to what you then put into the data, to then what's on the board, we should be able to create clear reference points to how we can make it better or to your language. So product under constant review, what more can we be doing to make sure that Inspire is better than anyone around us?
I thought you were going there first.
Continue to make sure people feel safe, welcome and challenged. If we then look at this, what do you think could be made better about that based on your demographic and the people that you serve?
What could be made better about it? Well, I mean, the middle section, maybe in particular, get someone here who's like struggling lower back pain or something like that, we'd maybe look at a different hinge movement. That's why we've kind of left it on here, is talking about specifically hinge. I mean, not really sure if I'm making sense of what I'm saying, but again, it's a case-by-case basis when someone comes in. You know, if we've got a group of 6 people in here, not everyone's going to be, if it's a B stance RDL, for example, that's not going to be working for the lady Christine that you would see when you came in. You know, for her that's quite an uncomfortable thing, so we'll leave that open-ended, and whatever form of hinge movement is going to be agreeable to her at that point. Like I said, week on week, as the kind of 4 weeks go, we'll take it session by session, case by case, client by client, and we're coming in here and we'll see how they're feeling, get the feedback from them. We're getting it live on our feed here, so it's not like we're assessing this 7 days down the line.
No, that's cool. So for me, if I was going to challenge your language but open-ended,
Yep.
I would say this isn't open-ended at all. I'd say it's fairly fixed and it's fairly closed, right? So if you could think about like rubbing the left-hand side off and let the right-hand side off, then you're probably jamming, right? So like warm-up could be like a cardio, press up or horizontal press, whatever it might be, and like hip. But as soon as we go into 1 minute, 10, and then 5 each side, we're becoming much more fixed and we're moving away from what that individual might need, and we're trying to group them into a certain rep range.
So just on that one there, like you say, this is just written in benching for the basis of the last session was in. So if we're going back to Mass's last, I think a few posts ago about the kind of opening rep range, we're just saying, you know, some people respond to different kind of reps. So if it's 5 press ups, if it's 5 horizontal, whatever it is, there's squats or something like that, that's kind of how we've been approaching the sessions right now. This here was just the last kind of 10-30 session that I had on here.
But if you're using WhatsApp,
Yeah.
so that's what we see here.
Yeah.
If I'm a client, what am I reading on WhatsApp?
So you're reading hinge, single leg, horizontal row, coaching notes will maybe be something like this. Maybe think about RDLs, you know, like B stance RDLs or something like that. So that's.
So this then becomes more, this is your reference on who you know is in the session.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, this always goes back to the point of writing everything in pencil here. So rubber's down there.
Yeah.
Out we go, we just see what's working for there's certain people, somebody's get a wee bit confused, come up here, adjust this here, so they've always got that kind of wee reference point here if there's,
So different group comes in 5 o'clock today.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so
potentially looks different based on who you see in that group.
Hinge, single leg, horizontal rows, this might kind of change depending on who is in that.
Yeah.
That particular thing.
So therefore, you're giving yourself much more work than what you need to. So if you're rewriting this board 6 times a day, we're almost moving away from having a skeleton, and then we're trying to fix it to the 6 individuals or 8 individuals that's in that session, which is very hard to do. Because you could have maybe the 10:30 session could be 8 people that are very similar capability, but then the 5:30 session you might have 8 different people that are 8 different capabilities. So then it's like, so what do you put on that board to encompass everybody? Do you know what I mean? Sorry, that was like a kind of rhetorical question. So it's just like the cardio could be like 1 minute, say we've got them paired up, and then we know that Chelsea and CMAC are going to be in a pair. So it's like, right, CMAC, I want you to do an arm wrap of 10 press-ups and 5 hip openers each side, whilst Chelsea gets warm on the cardio piece of kit.
That is kind of how we...
That's fine. So therefore, why do you need that there?
From people coming in and they're going, what we doing? That's a question that we get asked all the time, what we doing?
Yep, so then that's when you tell them.
Aye, but I'm just trying to make this as kind of comfortable a process and as simple as for people when that... This is going to sound daft, but maybe somebody's a wee bit kind of too shy maybe to ask me to speak up in front of people and stuff like that. It's like, I'm always there 5 or a year, like you say, but if there's something you're not comfortable coming to ask in front of someone like that, it's always here. Like, it's just every sort of wee angle we can do to make people feel, autonomous about their own training.
I challenge that, Ross,
Okay.
right? Just purely from the fact, what you explained to me about how you write what up, you're actually doing the right thing. And then you come and put this on here, you've got the essence of it right in the first place. To put that then on there for people to have as a reference point, you're taking them to the wrong thing.
Okay.
They don't need to come and reference this.
Okay.
They come in and you'll coach them what they need today. You've already done the work the right way in the first place. You kind of undo it then by putting this on here.
Okay.
Because they are then drawn to this
Yep.
rather than, coach, what do I need to do now?
Okay.
What does this look like for me today?
Right, so you want the connection to be between coach and client, not whiteboard coach and client.
Okay.
But you're already doing it.
Yeah.
You just undo it by then writing it onto there.
Right, so you've got the knowledge in your head, and you know, right, cool, we want them to do a hinge pattern. That could be a bilateral RDL for somebody, could be a B-stance RDL for somebody, could be whatever it might be. You know that, you've got that knowledge. But it's the question then becomes, how do you best communicate that to your people in their session without this? Because ideally we don't want this here at all.
Yeah.
And we definitely don't want RDL 2020, 5 each side, 300 metres, 60 seconds times 10. But we don't want the specific, because then what we're doing is we're setting people up for potential failure or to feel like they're not good enough if they can't do this tempo, or they can't get 10 press-ups, or they can't get 10 overhead press, or 8 burpees is too much of a challenge.
Quite honest to tell us if they can't do it anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They love telling us I can't do that or whatever, so.
Nine times out of 10, unless it's someone we're still kind of getting to know, we know the group when they're coming in and we know where they're at and stuff like that. I know you've written bench up there, for example, but got a lady coming in here at 4 o'clock today that's paralysing inside her body, so she's obviously not fucking bench pressing, the same as other people going, but it's like we've kind of done the exercise on our values and stuff like that. What can we do to kind of keep her part of this group, keep her challenged in the right way? And it goes back to what you were saying the last time you were in, Tony Newman in a good way, about how, because like one of the things was belonging, like our sessions were not geared towards belonging at all. It was, challenge for challenge's sake. Like, it wasn't actually pushing people in the right direction. It was maybe regressing them in some way, but we felt a wee bit uninvolved. From taking away for the board here, like I said, this is just scribbles. This is just here to keep people, as a reference point. So we're not
100%. But the lady you just referenced, You said, tell me if I'm wrong, safe, welcomed, challenged in the KPIs. So for her, this is a reference point, but it's completely fucking irrelevant to her anyway. So from a safe and welcome standpoint, it's just going in the wrong direction. Because you guys are going to look after her, I'm sure you are. But it's irrelevant to her. So it's going to take away from that.
So the belonging piece for the woman, she's not going to do a 3 bench press at 2020. It's completely irrelevant. So like, by you having this on the board is potentially doing more damage than good, because it's almost excluding. Because it's like, well, here's what everybody else is doing, and let's make it clear in plain sight. But like, that have no benefit in her training whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? And it will feel scary coming away for this. And it makes it harder from a coaching standpoint. You might need to periodise it, do you know what I mean? Because it might be like, if we talk about the correct next step, you going from this to nothing might be too much like your proximal development, so it might make it feel like really bad. So you might just, for the next week, take away 6 and 10 and take away RDL and just have hinge. And then see how that feels and see how you communicate that as a coaching team. And then the next week you try to take it away fully. But it should be within the coaching team. And I think you wrote about alignment in your KPIs, like sitting down with the team. That should be really cool. On a Wednesday, we know that the main KPI is a horizontal press. For the majority of people, we're going to follow this 6, 5, 4, 3 rep range, but we know the people on either side of the continuum might need to do a 4 press, or they might do banded bench, or whatever it might be based on their specific goals. But like, then when any member comes in, the coaching team are diligent, they know what to follow. And then it's a case of how do you effectively communicate that to who's in, rather than let's feel safe and let's get around the board and potentially talk about things that are relevant for members. Completely remove this. Probably just have like horizontal press instead of bench. Hinge, single leg knee over toe. It's probably fine. And then it could be like accumulate, and you would just have like maybe like a 10-minute AMRAP. And it's like you're accumulating distance as a pair, and then after each effort you alternate between these. So after effort 1 on the erg you do cleans, after effort 2 you do some sort of overhead variation, and after effort 3 you do some sort of burpees. And then you would then just prescribe the correct exercise and the correct rep range for whatever individual's in front of you.
Okay.
You got a pen, Ross?
Yes, mate.
Some sort of hinge pattern, some sort of single leg knee dominant. Oh, I forgot your horizontal row, sorry. H row and some work capacity.
Okay.
This is no different from what you guys are doing, because you're taking these patterns and saying, well, the group that's coming in, this is what we feel is the average across the group. You don't need to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, I know a bit about your business. I think your worry comes from communicating it effectively to the team and their buy-in to making the product as good as it can be. So I reckon this is your safety net for not being able to communicate to the coaching team effectively.
That's a H, not an M, just for everyone.
When you come in, like, your prep today is going to be X, Y, and Z, and you've got to do it here. After you finish your prep, you're then going to move into block A, if that still gives you some sort of parameters. And I want you to work through 8 to 12 weighted press-ups, because I know you're getting into high rock, so we want to get good at body weight pressing. Whereas, look, you've got to go for your bench press, we're building a heavy 3, and you've got 6 sets to find a heavy 3 for the day. Do you know what I mean? And then when you're working through part A, it's like, cool, your part B is going to be your hinge and your single leg knee over toe. Yeah. So again, you're doing high rocks, let's put the sandbag on the back, and you're working through strengths, so let's go Bulgarians and let's work in the 6 rep range. Yeah. So like, you don't need to come back over here for a point of reference. You actually, that would potentially ruin the flow, because if people are up squatting on the back squat rack, but then they're walking all the way across the other side of the gym to check the board.
It doesn't flow like that. Like, I will say that much. People know the sessions when they come in, so it's not like I'm over here. Right, guys, that's part A done. One over here, no huddle around the board. It doesn't kind of flow like that. Which is like first 20 minutes here. This is we're learning a bench, and the floor is not theirs, obviously. You know, but it's just you know, you kind of know that we've got ourselves set up for part B here. That's kind of the flow of it. So there isn't a rush, there isn't a track pressure put on it in that front. I hope it makes sense here. Like, I'm not pulling everyone away from what
No.
I'm doing.
Aye, so therefore you're just reinforcing that you don't need it then?
It's a comfort blanket.
Aye.
It's a concern when, I mean, we know ourselves that some of the coaches aren't as strong, you know what I mean? Like, Ross comes away from the floor and it's getting coached by somebody else, and I think having that there is probably a safety net for like Ross to go and enjoy his time with his wee boy, you know what I mean? Because he knows, like, aye, the session's basically, I can do this, but it's trusting in coaches to be able to deliver that session like that, you know what I mean?
You've just described your CPD for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what that is, right?
Yeah.
I think that is why we date like that, innit?
You know what I'm going to say?
No, but it's trying to replace that. Like, it's trying to replace that. It is like, you know yourself, see, Matt, try to get good coaches in Glasgow is no easy. It's really not. They think that they are good coaches, and they're not. They're sending people into high rock classes and going smash. Whereas getting people away from that and having it more controlled, like the way that we do train, you're going to progress quicker than that than going and getting smashed in a 90-minute high rocks class. People see that on Instagram, so they think that that's what they want. You know what I mean? So, like, it's difficult to come away from that and go, oh, by the way, where you go. Like, that's when Ross needs his time. You know what I mean? He needs his time away from you, and I'm fully for that. Like, you can't be in here delivering quality every single session if everything's getting on top of you and you've not got the backup at the other end of that.
100%. Right? So it's like then, what does the CPD look like in the most efficient way to get the coaches to a point where they can deliver that? Never got to deliver it like you. It's your gym, it's your idea, it's your philosophy. Or they might in time, if you train them well enough. If you coach your coaches to be better than you, they could get there if they've got the
obviously
appetite.
In that kind of sense as well, we don't always want them to coach like us, because you want them to have their own character, their own thing, and their own way of delivering sections. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be Ross delivering a section. Like, we've got Sinead coming in, and she's got to do a wee bit of work, but she's been absolute night and day compared to others. But she'll be away at the weekend to try and learn a bit more. But like, it can't just be me and Ross delivering sessions and everybody coming on as a great session with me or Ross. We want it to be, I had a great session with Leo, I had a great session with Sinead, I had a great session with Emma. But trying to get that across sometimes, like, they don't buy in to this place, you know what I mean? They've got the passion that myself and Ross have got about here. Like, it's your life at times, you know what I mean?
An important note, boys, that's a North Star, right? The North Star is there's no board. The coaches are all good enough. They watch people come in, quick warm up and be like, oh, cool, I know what Ross needs today. I know what Luke needs today. I know what C-Mac needs. I can prescribe that well. That's not easy, right? That's where we want to go to. And even if we don't quite get there, if we're trying to develop towards that, we're doing good shit on the way.
Probably just like a gentle nudge each week to gradually decrease what's on the board to then get to this. And then CPD feeds into that.
Nice meeting
And remember, it's never personal, it's
Thanks
just
for having us.
we move forward.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, bro. You always do. We discussed this last time.